orders together so we can combine that and get the shipping free, because once we total it up, it'll be over $75. So that works out really well for local people to me here in Sun Prairie area. Let me know if there's anything that you'd like that's on the retiring list, especially. Keep an eye on that as it's going out. We want to make sure that you don't miss out on any of your favorites. So if you do have that order that is $75 or more, and especially if it's going to be enough to make to give you some host benefits, you're just going to want to go to my website here and hit the order now button and go ahead and put that order in. If it's $75 but not quite $150, so you won't get benefits yourself, please use this host code, and I have a little something I will send you for adding your order into that host group. So again, this is a one-day opportunity for some free shipping. Great way to stock up on some things if you don't need anything new, because it's, we're almost in a new catalog season and some of you are kind of waiting. But remember, the prices are going to go up on things like cardstock and envelopes and adhesives and things like that. So it might not hurt to grab a couple of those things that you're going to use anyway. And then just save yourself a little money, because you'll be having it at the cheaper price and you'll get free shipping. So again, if you don't have enough to come up with that 75 on your own, shoot me what you want, shoot me an email, call me, whatever, with what you want to have, and we will get a group order going. Okay. So there again is a host code if you need it. I will have this up on my website as well, or in my Facebook page. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for joining me tonight. With all the details again, so that you can keep track of that. All right, a couple more housekeeping things before we get going. Just remember that these two catalogs here, the last day to order from those is going to be May 1st. Retirement lists are out. You can see what's going and what's carrying over. Lots of great stuff still available, and lots of great stuff that carried over into our new catalog, which will be starting on May 2nd. And speaking of, if you asked me to mail you one, you should be getting yours, if you haven't already, probably any day this week. I had a couple people tell me already that theirs is here. And so hopefully they are headed your way soon. I can't show you anything from the inside. That's an illegal Stampin' Up! No, but I can show you the cover. And it's so pretty. I love the rainbow effect of the colors that they put on the cover. So pretty. I've already gotten a few things from it. That is a sneak peek. I have the new in colors, which are gorgeous. Hi, Karen. I hope it's sunny down by you, because it's definitely not sunny here anymore. So again, if you haven't gotten one by the end of the week, give me a holler. And if I did ask you to if I did ask them to mail it to you, I will double check on that process. And if you did not and you want one anyway, just let me know. I would be happy to send them out to you. Alrighty. The set I'm focusing on tonight is something fancy. It's in the current mini catalog, but it will also be carrying over to the new annual catalog. However, it will no longer be available as a bundle. So if you've been looking at this and going, I kind of like the way they both look together, definitely would use the two together, I would take advantage of the bundle pricing, save yourself the 10%, and 10 or 15? 10% when you buy them together, because in the new catalog, there is not that opportunity. They will only be sold separately. I like how these dies nest together, and what's really fun about these shapes here is that they fit into the top of this one here. And I'll show you that on one of my samples later, so you can have these nice little cutouts as part of your tag, so they're already set to go for feeding a ribbon through it or something like that. All right, and all of those will then fit over these guys here, these phrases. Okay. So that is part of my focal points for all of my cards tonight, is just a tag with a verse on it. All right. So speaking of, let's go ahead and get started. All right. So here's what you needed for tonight. You need a piece of cardstock that is 5.5 by 8.5. And we scored that at 4 1/4. So that's halfway down like usual. We want a piece of designer series paper that's 4 by 5 1/8. And like I said at the beginning, in case you weren't here, all my DSP tonight comes from the package called Hues of Happiness. Lots of pretty bright colors. And with the weather changing here today to some snow, I kind of wanted some pretty things to look at. So 4 by 5 1/8. And something with a dark color background is going to work best for this. And then we're going to grab your paper trimmer, have that handy. We're actually going to chop this up just a tiny bit. So we're going to trim that down a little. You want a piece of neutral cardstock that's 4 by 5 1/4. Only 78 degrees. Oh, Karen, I'm so sorry. I think we would kill for 78 degrees here right now. Okay, so you'll also want another one of this size, the 4 by 5 1/4, if you have a dark background that you want to have something on the inside to be able to stamp and write on, etc. But this is actually going to be used on the front. So if you want to put something in the inside, you'll need a duplication of that. And then you need a focal point of some sort, whether you did a phrase or some imagery, whether you stamped it, punched it, cut it out, whatever. I used the phrase, the thank you phrase from the set, Something Fancy. And then I cut it out with the hexagon die that you see here as part of the Something Fancy dies. And I have to say, I really like that they started naming the dies the same as the stamp sets, because it makes it a whole lot easier to remember which ones went with which. Okay, so then remember that you want your paper trimmer handy. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, grab that piece of designer series paper. We're going to use that first, and your paper trimmer. And what we're going to do is we are going to cut 1 3/4 inches. I probably should have written that down. Let me move that out of the way. Okay. 1 3/4 inches is going to come off of the top and the bottom. That makes the measurement a little easier for me to follow, because the middle piece is like 5/8 wide or something. And for me, this was just a much easier way to do it. So feeding it in, there's my top piece. I'm going to take that over to 1 3/4. And then I'm going to slice that off. Okay, so there's my top. Now rotate. Now you're at the bottom. Again, 1 3/4 and slice. And then you visually kind of put that back together for yourself, so you can remember what order they went in and how it flows together. And then you are all done with your paper trimmer. All right, grab that piece of neutral cardstock. That was the 4 by 5 1/4. And we're going to put the top and bottom on first, and then put the middle in the middle, because that's where the middle should go, right? All right, here's my top. It's going to fit perfectly edge to edge. And as long as they're both cut the same way. We might have a little hangover, because sometimes when you cut 4 inches and it doesn't always equal 4 inches, you might have a little bit to trim down later. So I would always start matching up one edge to go over. And that way you'll keep the same. If you have any carryover that's a little bit too much neutral, is all be on the same side and easier for to cut down. Okay, now grab the bottom piece and make sure you remember your orientation, so that it's all still going to be looking the same direction. Go ahead, match that to the very bottom. Like so. Okay. Now that middle piece is going to go in between, and there's going to be ever so slightly a little bit of the neutral cardstock showing through. So remember your orientation again. Make sure you've got that going the same, and just kind of eyeball. And like I said, you're going to have just a little bit of a border going in between them. Alrighty. Everybody got that? Show me some thumbs ups, or if there's any questions, of course, pop them in there. Remember, those cuts were each 1 3/4 inches. And I just did top and bottom because that made some more sense to me, and not having to worry about the width of that middle panel, because that's a little bit wider. All right, go ahead and grab that, your card base. Mine is Night of Navy, to go along with the Night of Navy background in my designer series paper. And I managed to hide, there it is, my bone folder. All right, so let's go ahead and give that a nice score. You can decide at this point if you want anything to be raised up on dimensionals. You could absolutely raise this panel up on dimensionals if you want, or we can just attach it directly down, which is what I'm going to do with my Stampin' Seal. Alrighty. Whoop, went a little bit crooked. Good thing I didn't push down too hard yet. There we go. I felt it slide as I tried to push it down. All right, so there is that. And then I am going to pop up my little focal point on a couple of dimensionals. I always like a little bit of depth and interest in what I do. Texture and things like that are I love doing all that kind of stuff in my projects. It's like a tactile thing, I guess, or something for me. That's why I love using embossing folders and dimensionals and things like that. And you can put this then wherever you like. So I'm going to mimic the line that goes across here with my shape and just drop it right down there. So that could go anywhere in your panels that based on what you got down as a pattern. Maybe there's a nice blank spot that you want to kind of hide behind your focal point or something like that. You just go for it and lay yours out however it works the best in your design. Okay? So that one, super simple, super quick, and just a little bit of a different way to kind of show off some of your DSP that you might have. All right, so let me show you a couple other samples. So remember, all the paper is from Hues of Happiness, and all the stamped set, the phrases and the shapes come from the Something Fancy This one, okay, I'm going to fib right away and say I got these guys from the Bow Punch. I punched those out of Gorgeous Grape, and it's one part that's on the Bow Punch. So here is my version of that. It's a kind of similar floral pattern laid out just in different shades. One of the things I love about this, oh, thanks, Pat. I thought it was kind of pretty too. What I liked about the Hues of Happiness DSP, when you look at it, it kind of goes almost like ombre style. So the other side of this piece of paper was like the yellows and the oranges and the pinks, and then it blends down into the purples and blues and greens, and really, really fun designer series paper. I really loved picking that up before it's gone. Okay, then what I've done with the next couple, I flipped the direction. So you can see these are horizontal, not vertical. Same concept. So I'll slice the same, and there's the breaks in between. This time, this is what I was telling you before with this die set. When you go to run it through your paper trimmer or your Stampin' Scar and Emboss machine, you just slide that up there, and it fits right in there. You send it through all at the same time, so it's not two passes, which is really nice. It all goes through at the same time. And then there's the 3 different patterns. So you've got this little leafy pattern, kind of like you see here. And then there was just one single kind of teardrop hole that will hold, you can slide your ribbon through. And then this one is like a tulip bulb, tulip flower with its little leaves next to it. So those are so super cute, and they fit right up inside that die, like I said, like that. And you can send it through on the same pass through your emboss machine, which is really, really nice. You don't have to do it twice. So those were the 2 dies layered together. And I only did the pattern out of the one so the white popped through. And this is the Fresh Freezer ribbon that is going away. The color is carrying over. Yay! We get to keep Fresh Freezer to play with. That's fun. But that ribbon will be going out of the catalog line. Same thing here, but with this one, I did the DSP in the opposite direction in the middle, just to give it a little bit of different kind of a flow throughout the pattern. I added some ribbon behind my focal point, a couple of pearls, and again, I think this was Pool Party and Night of Navy. Okay, and then another horizontal version here. This is this one is the other side of this kind of the other part of this piece of paper. So like I said, it goes from these really bright pinks and yellows all the way down to your pretty purples and greens and blues. So same thing here. This time I took that die. There's the hexagon die. But what I did is I cut it down the middle and spread it apart a little bit. So it looks a little bigger, but it's really just because the middle part is actually just missing there. And then for this particular die here, then I also took my black Stampin' Rite marker and I just did a little doodling around there, so it makes it kind of look like it has a little stitched background. And I used the black just to bring in some of the centers of those flowers. So otherwise that's on the Melon Mambo cardstock, which I found as I was going through some stuff. I don't use this often, so I wanted to pull that back out again. Oh, and I think, yeah, this is the one here where I've popped that guy up on dimensionals on that layer. So like I said, you can add dimension in both parts or just the one part or lay it all directly down flat. That's totally up to you and your design and whatever fits yours best. All right, let me show you the stepped up version of what I did here. If you remember a couple weeks back, we did a fun fold where we took the front panel and we folded it back in half. And that's exactly what I did here. So my front looks very similar. I switched out the phrasing and the verse, so I have something a little bit larger. I brought in some of my Pool Party organdy ribbon. That's Night of Navy and Pool Party again. And then the nested dies, I love how they all just fit so nicely together. And then it opens like that. So you remember we folded it back and we put just adhesive on the one side so that the front lined up and it still looks like what normally looks like a card front. But this one is then a fun fold. Okay. So that is just another way to play, like I said, kind of play with that designer series paper that you have. And it just breaks up your pattern a little bit, gives a little bit of visual interest. And I liked, especially with this one here, kind of just changing the whole flow of the paper by alternating where that went. Because of the watercolory ombre type effect that was going through these papers, this one was really, really easy to do that way. All right, so there again, everybody, is my samples for tonight. So if you missed it at the very beginning, just a reminder, they announced today that on April 19th, so in just a couple of days, is going to be a free shipping day. So please give me a call, send me an email, whatever you need me to do to help you out in placing that order. It's orders of 75 or more, so if yours isn't quite that large, shoot it on over to me, and we'll group them together so that we can take advantage of that free shipping day. If you're ordering on your own, there's a host code you can use, and you just go to my website and hit the shop now, and it'll take you right over to the store. So, oh, Kathy, I can't, the comment got cut off there on my screen, so I will have to answer that later if it's a question. I see something about the sympathy card. So, let me see, what was I going to say now? I think that was it. Lost my train of thought for a second, because that's just what I do. All right, everybody. So that is everything there. Last check, the Something Fancy. Like I said, it's in the current catalog as a bundle. Will not be bundled in the next catalog. So if it was something you were looking at getting, jump in now so you get it at the bundle price, because you don't want to miss it out on that. Plus the free shipping day, you're going to get even more of a discount. So super awesome. Thanks for joining me tonight, everybody. And I look forward to seeing you again next week, Monday, for another, oh, beautiful. Now I can see it, Kathy. Thank you. I thought that one was really kind of pretty too. All right. Thanks again for joining me on another Make It With Me Monday. And I will see everybody again next week. Have a good one.